All right, I guess I'm up and going. It is, I don't even know what time it is, like close to 3 o'clock or 3, I don't know. But it is like in the 60s here today. I don't know what the hell's going on. But I'll take it. I'll take it all day. Let me adjust this a little bit better. There we go. All right. Anyways, it is December 30th. For those curious, this is a Christoph Criollo Matador. Pretty good smoke. I haven't had one in a while, so I figured, I got 4 of them in my humidor. I figured I'd light one up. Anyways, I hope people have been enjoying the DL show. I've been liking the added of Matt and Chuck to the show. I think it's great, and hopefully this week we'll have Joe come back. He was just crazy busy that day. But yeah, I mean, I think that show's rounding out nicely. I like having Chuck on the show. I smoked cigars with Chuck 2 or 3 days a week. Chuck's actually going to be starting the carnivore diet in January on the 2nd, Monday. So the day of the show, he'll be his first day on the diet. He and his dad are going to do it. So today I weighed 183. It's probably going to be my end weight for the year, 183. I'm not trying to lose any more weight. I'm just trying to lose fat. Like at this point, I have, my 6-pack is kind of there. I would say it looks good, but I just have some skin, not terribly loose skin, but by April I should be beach ready, if you know what I mean, which is cool. But I'm gonna stay on this diet, I think, for life. I never felt better. It's just it's a great feeling. Just, and if anyone curious about it, just look up on YouTube carnivore diet. It's funny, if somebody else gets in the conversation when I talk about it with other people, if they ask me about it, they're always like, oh, they'll always come up with something. That can have a problem with kidneys. I'm like, dude, you're fat with fucking about 50 pounds of visceral fat on your stomach. You're worried about your kidneys? Bullshit. Give me a fucking break. You know what's funny? On my channel, over the last few days, my video about tone wood and how a string vibrates has been getting a lot of attention. And the comments, I just automatically put a heart on it and a thumbs up and basically, fuck you, I'm not reading it. When I see like, oh, you're oversimplifying it. Oh, am I? Because you're a fucking genius. You think that you can get around the fucking laws of physics? Wonderful. I don't care. I put it up a couple of years ago. If you're still under the impression that the fucking nut can change the way the guitar sounds. Now, I'm not saying the nut doesn't change the way the guitar feels, because as a player, we play with the feel and the way the guitar vibrates in our hand. The audience has no fucking idea what the hell nut you have, nor do they care. Nor would they know if you went and played it at 5. If the Rolling Stones went out and did fucking 5 shows in a row, and each show, Keith Richards put a different fucking nut on his guitar, made of a different material, a harder material, a softer material, you would have no fucking idea. And you wouldn't care. But you wouldn't know. Now, Keith might. He might be like, well, I can feel this and feel that, but what's coming out of the amp doesn't change. Enough about that. I just want to say, because I think it's funny that people like comment and they're trying to like, oh, this guy, he oversimplifies things. Oh, do I? Really? You're just a fucking wizard. You can make you can take the laws of physics and stretch it. That's great. I'm glad you can do that. It's good for you. Good on you. Good for you that you can change the laws of physics. And so I have Speaking of people that like to disagree with me on things, I have a friend that has been doing cardio now. I'm 56 days in, he's 30 days, 30, like 32. Anyways, he got his blood work done this week, and the doctor's scratching his head, can't figure out how come his cholesterol's perfect. Everything in his blood is perfect, but yet he's eating nothing but high saturated fat and beef. Can't figure that one out. They can't figure that out, but they tell you what to eat. The USDA has measures of what to eat and how many carbohydrates to eat. And the world is, well, not the world, the United States is 33% obese and another 33% overweight. So there's 33% people who are thin. It's in your head. The difference between rosewood and maple is the look, it's the feel, and it's when you play it acoustically, you're going to hear it sound brighter with maple than you would with rosewood. It may not sound brighter if you finish the rosewood the way you'd finish maple, but if it's both unfinished and that maple's a harder wood, it's going to reflect harder. That doesn't have anything to do with what the pickups are seeing. The pickups are seeing a magnetic flux. And that magnetic flux is because the strings are magnetic. And the pickups create a magnetic field and they disrupt the magnetic field. That's all it has to do with. It doesn't have to do with vibration. The vibration of the wood has nothing to do with what you're hearing going through those pickups. It has nothing to do with it. It wouldn't matter. So when you plug in a guitar, I mean, David Gilmour on Dark Side of the Moon, I believe he had a was it rosewood? Yeah, it was rosewood. When he did Wish You Were Here, he changed the neck and put on a maple neck. When he did Animals, he switched it back to rosewood and then back to maple for the wall. You can hear a different, it always sounds like David Gilmour to me. I can't hear a difference. In fact, most people think another brick of the wall is a Strat and it's a fucking 56 Les Paul. So, I mean, I honestly can't even have the conversation about it. And Jim Lill does an amazing video about how bullshit it all is. And like I said, if anybody ever wanted to gamble with me, I'd take the money. I'll take it all day. I'll take that bet any day on a double-blind test. You can't tell the difference. Yeah, we're only talking about, like, you have to understand. Thanks, Johnny. Yeah, I got to move some crates pretty soon out in the docks. So the pickups are only creating magnetic field. The strings are disrupting that magnetic field. Now, so the argument that someone once said, or someone said recently, was that if you change the nut or you change the material of the bridge, that will change how the strings vibrate. And that's bullshit, because a string vibrates unto itself. If you look at a G string on a guitar, do you think that string is vibrating all the way to the nut and all the way to the bridge? Fuck no, it isn't. That is why you have to intonate the guitar and move the saddle further back, because to get 25.5-inch scale, you have to elongate it because it's not vibrating right up to the fucking nut or the bridge. It vibrates unto itself. The second string is a little thinner, so that gets a little closer. The E string's a little thinner. That gets a little closer. The D string is thin again, but it's wound, so that gets as close, almost as close as the high E string. And then you see the A string gets pulled back. Is there a difference between bolt-on set-through? Absolutely not. Not in sound, no. In the way you feel about it, maybe, but it's not going to affect the sound. The string vibrating vibrates unto itself. If I could, okay. if I could hypothetically hold strings in my hand like this, tight enough at 25.5 inches and put a pickup under there, and you plucked it, it would have the exact same sound. It wouldn't make a difference. So why would the neck, how the neck is being connected to the body, make any difference? That is just like the ground. I mean, when Leo Fender was designing these guitars, he had Jimmy the rig, which had a bridge and a nut. And then everything was just on one block of wood. It doesn't matter. That's just the apparatus holding the string. Whether it's bolt on, whether it's neck through, or whether it's set neck. What's more important, the amp? Well, I think the amp or the speaker. Well, if the speaker's no good, it doesn't matter how good your amp is. And if the amp's no good, it doesn't matter how good your speaker is. I mean, you should have a good amp and speaker that works good, that you like. I mean, the amp is everything to me, but again, then they all sound the same to me anyways. I'll say this, you want to sound really good on an electric guitar? Get good. Just get good. I mean, fucking Billy Gibbons, every record is using a different amp. Every record. There's so much good gear out there, but if you sound good, you play good. You can go in a Guitar Center and hear somebody play a fucking Line 6 and sound like shit, and you can hear a real guy play a Line 6 and be like, that thing actually sounds pretty good. The gear doesn't matter. Play. The gear matters to the player when you play, if you enjoy playing it. So like if a guy sits there and says, you have some amazing pianist and he sits down at a Bosendorfer and he plays it. And he's like, you know what, it's too bright for me. I like the sound of the Steinway. And then he goes and plays a Steinway and that's what he likes. Does that mean Steinway's a better at piano than a Bosendorfer? No. It doesn't make a fucking bit of a difference. But as an audience, maybe we like the sound of the Bosendorfer better. Who knows? But the point is, it's all subjective. But if you can play the fucking piano and you can play it really good, people are going to listen whether you're playing on a fucking Bosendorfer or a fucking upright Kohler and Campbell. Doesn't matter. If you're good, you're good. Genesis. Nice. Yeah, I mean, you can look at the band Genesis. The last tour, he took out a Squier Stratocaster. Did the audience go, I want my money back? This fucking guy's playing a Squier? No, they fucking sounded great. The band was on point, and the guitar sounded great. Who cares? If you can play anything. It doesn't matter. My guitars, you know, I have the V necks, the ultra wide necks. I put a little scalloping on the high strings and the pickups that I like. I've had people pick up my guitars and go, I hate it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to make you love it. I don't care if you like it. I like it. Makes me play better, makes me feel closer to the instrument, therefore it's better for me. What do I care what somebody else likes? That's why, you know, I see all these guitars coming out and people are like, oh, did you hear this Strat came out? What do I give a shit? I'd have to do a million things to it for me to even want to play it, and I'm not interested. I like what I like, but does that mean there's a $6,000 Strat is better than my $1,000? The Strat that I put $1,000 in, $300 for the body, maybe $300 for the neck and all the electronics or whatever. No, I don't think it's better than that. In fact, I would never sell mine or trade mine straight up for anybody with a $6,000 custom shop Strat. I don't care. My guitars play the way I want them to play. Does that make them better? Makes them better for me. Oh, on your Warmouth neck, though, that's not a bone nut. Oh, who gives a fuck? Could you tell if it's a bone nut? If I put a gun to your head and asked you, is it a bone nut? Would you know? You would have no idea. And your ears have no idea. Most people can't even hear things out of fucking tune. You know, I was listening to Ken Tamplin the other day talking about somebody singing. And I'm like, Jesus, you're not gonna mention this guy's fucking sharp? And then he goes, I don't mind that he's sharp. And I'm like, all right, I like Ken Tamplin. Happy New Year, trucker. I like Ken. All right, Johnny. I love Ken Tamplin because he called the guy out. He called the guy sharp. Instead of kissing ass like all these guys do listening to people sing, I was like, the guy's not gonna mention he's sharp. Boom. Plus he's sharp. And I'm like, giddy up. All right, I'm in. I like Ken. So most people can't even tell what's sharp or flat, but they're going to tell me they can hear the difference between maple and rosewood across a fucking arena? No. Coming out of an amp? No. Sitting in your bedroom without being plugged in? Yeah, you might. You might, because it's going to reflect differently, but that's, if you play the electric guitar acoustically, you'll hear it. Like an acoustic guitar, everything on the guitar reflects. So that is the amplifier. So when you sit there and say on an acoustic guitar, this has a cedar top, or this is a spruce top, an Adirondack spruce, or a Sitka spruce, those things matter because that's the voice of the instrument, including the neck wood, the fingerboard wood, everything on that guitar is part of the voice of the instrument. But that's not how an electric guitar works at all. You are not hearing any of the voice of the instrument. You're hearing the strings disrupting a magnetic field on pickups. Again, if you want to watch a great video on it, Jim Lill, Lill. Jim Lill pretty much shows you that it's all bullshit. Oh, wait a sec, that's interesting. 3 years ago, was diagnosed. So what'd you do, Tone Seeker? Did you, well, a semi-acoustic is just, it's, use a piezo pickup. It's like a pressurized pickup on the saddle. That's why it's underneath the saddle. Yeah, it doesn't pick up the magnetism of the strings. So there is something else going on. I don't know exactly in the piezo, because it's not doing what a magnetic pickup does, what an electric guitar does. Now, a semi-acoustic, if you mean a hollow body pickup is the exact same thing as a hollow body pickup is the exact same as an electric guitar. So it's just reading the strings. So anyone that's like, oh, a hollow body. Now what happens with a hollow body is the open hole will cause the strings to vibrate and keep vibrating and can cause more feedback. But that doesn't change the tone of the instrument. That's just the actual mechanism of the instrument, that there it becomes a, it's almost like if you were to use an EBow. The guitar in that effect is almost acting like an EBow in cases of it being like real loud, like when you have like Ted Nugent. And that's a nice effect if that's what you're looking for. But if you're playing clean on an electric hollow body, it's not going to matter, or even semi-clean. So Tone Seeker, what happened with your diabetes? Are you type 2 diabetes? And if you're type 2 diabetes, there are ways to get off of all the meds. I'm working right now with 2 people who are pre-diabetic. And I'll find out next month. I think I got one completely out of the blue, out of the worry zone, and then the other one, I don't know when he gets his blood work done again, but I got his blood pressure down, and then we'll see. I got to see what his fasting glucose is. Also, I don't know if you guys watched the DL show. We were talking about if I could play in a tribute band, what band, and I said I'd be in Devo because I think that would be probably the most interesting and fun with a bunch of synth players. But today and yesterday I've been listening to nothing but Kansas, and I would do a Kansas tribute. I just think all those the old songs from Kansas, like Icarus, Born on Wings of Steel, and just Portrait is great. I mean, there's so many great songs they have, and such a great band. Song for America, Can I Tell You Something? That would be fun stuff to play. So I'm changing my vote to that. It's so nice out here. Jim and I have a gig at the at Martini's tomorrow night for New Year's, and that'll be great. We gotta switch it up a bit. We're gonna add more dance songs, acoustic dance songs, more Bee Gees stuff, and I gotta look up a couple of songs tonight and figure out how to play them. Um, so that'll be fun, and that'll be it for New Year's. New Year's Day. What do I got going on New Year's Day? That's Sunday. I'll figure that out. I think I'm going to smoke cigars just up the street with this guy that I know. And then Monday we got the show. Monday back in the gym. So my total for the year, well, I started this year off, I think I weighed about 230, 220 coming into this year. Something like 225 probably. So 25 and 15, 17, 42 pounds this year. Wow. Total weight loss from when I first started is 82 pounds. I was 265, I think that's the right number, and I'm 183. But I will say for anybody who's going to do carnivore, at least for me, I'm not taking the gas. I'm not taking anything. I haven't taken anything in a long time. But if you're in the gym natural and you're doing the carnivore, expect to lose some of your heavy weights. I went from 140-pound dumbbell presses to like now 120 as heavy as fuck. So it's like when I lost 25 pounds, I lost 20 pounds on my top bench in each hand. So you lose because you lose a lot of the glucose out of your muscle. And then, but everything else, like curls and everything else, back, all the numbers are the same. Everything's been the same. Just lost a little bit on my bench. So, not that it's keeping me up at night, because I really don't care. I'd rather be shredded. As the Barbarian Brothers told me, fuck, how many years ago was that now? Almost 20 years ago. No, 15 years ago. They say how you doing? They say at some point it's time to be Tarzan and not the ape. And so that's the goal. Things I got going on for next year's show. Early on, I was supposed to have him by the end of the year, but his book has been delayed. But Rick Valenti, who's the bodybuilder that was on the cover of the 5150 album for Van Halen, he's a buddy of mine from Gold's Gym. Matt knows him as well too, and he's going to come on the show and talk about a book he's releasing. But when we're going to wait for that book to get released, and then he'll come on. And I don't know about any other guests as of yet. I got to be honest, I don't really put a lot of time into the show. It's just, it's been a more of a fun time with Joe doing the lists, to be honest with you. This week we have a bunch of lists coming out. It's going to be our lists. It'll be interesting. It's supposed to be warmer, I think, tomorrow even. Even Sunday, I think it's going to be warmer here. What the hell's going on? Anybody have any other questions for me in the chat? Feel free to pipe up. Tone Seeker, what happened to that diabetes comment? You disappeared on me. And what was your fasting blood glucose? I'm just curious. I get more blood work done in next month, January, I think the 18th, I get my blood work done again. I didn't put out a lesson last week because I just didn't have anything to teach. I was just busy working on other stuff. And then this week, I don't have a lesson coming out because, again, the same thing. And I got to, but I've been teaching my students. So whatever I teach this Monday will be whatever song I teach this Monday I decide to. I'll post it for next week. I'll do a lesson for it. FedEx. Is the chat not working? Why am I not seeing anything? Hold on. Oh, wait. What's the best? Oh, here, all this stuff wasn't coming up for me. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so I tried Stupid Factor, went strictly carnivore, high fats, no sugar or carbs. I'm 36 pounds lighter, no insulin and meds. Oh, that's awesome, Tone. Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm carnivore too, man. I was going to say that's the way to do it. Kansas, do you dance while you play? No. What's the best new album you heard last year? Geez, I don't know if there's any album I heard last year. Somebody type something. Let me see if this thing pops up now. I don't know why the chat wasn't popping up. Do I have to hit this thing? Test. Okay, I got that, but I just hit it again. Say test again. Okay, now it's working. All right, that worked. All right. Anyways, Tone Seeker, that's fucking awesome, man. The trick about doing carnivore or any no carb, no sugar diet is you really have to increase your fats. When you increase the fat, you really like get all the energy back that you would from carbs without having to eat every 5 minutes. And it just does wonders. It really does. I mean, that was a game changer for me because I used to eat 5 meals a day on my other diet, which was low carb, low fat. And once I bumped the fat up, I was like, oof, I can only eat twice a day. I can eat a lot in those 2 meals, but it doesn't matter because when you do carnivore, you don't count calories. It doesn't matter. I don't think it's hard to avoid it. It's pretty easy. You just look at the labels. I mean, I eat nothing but like meats, cheese, and I look at the cheese very closely. Heavy cream, butter, nothing with sugar. Bacon, no fruit, no vegetables. Those are poison. Love bacon. Love me some bacon. The thing with fruit is, and this was what one of the doctors that I follow really kind of had a hypothesis on, which is pretty accurate if you think about it. Before we were shipping fruit all over the world and we have like apples all year round, you only had apples in the fall. And you would eat them in the fall and you would put on fat. Oh, okay, Hugh. Excellent. Yeah, same here, Tone Seeker. Same here. I feel so much. I feel like I'm a kid. I have no aches and pains. It's nuts. It really is crazy. This diet's unbelievable because when you cut out a lot of, And a lot of the vegetables cause that because there's a lot of oxalates and tannins and just stuff that just are very hard on your system that you're not aware of. And you're told like, oh, but you need those for vitamins. Really? A lot of those vegetables, those vitamins are not bioavailable. You're not absorbing them at all. And in fact, the oxalates in like broccoli and spinach attach to the proteins, and you're not absorbing those either. So you're better off just having the steak plain with a side of bacon. Wine, beer, I don't drink. I'm none of that stuff. I don't eat any of that stuff. I'm not. I don't miss sugar. I don't miss any of it. I don't care. Like my friend, she's always saying, "You're not going to have a Town Spot pizza again?" I'm like, probably not. I don't care. I don't miss it. I don't care. The way I feel. So Krillbar and I used to do a cheat meal last year. When I first started the diet, I was doing a cheat meal every Sunday. I just don't care for it. I don't really care for alcohol. I like being in control. It's wasted calories for me. I just don't care for it. I mean, I know some people, it makes them, like they feel like they can say anything or they feel less inhibited. I'm not inhibited. I don't care. I just don't care. It doesn't do anything for me. My brother Richard's the same way. We just don't give a shit. So yeah, beer and alcohol, wine, bourbon, doesn't do anything for me. I enjoy a cigar. That's what I enjoy. That's my vice. And it's a nightshade, but I'm not eating it. So, what was I saying? Well, I feel younger. Yeah, well, see, the problem with McDonald's and the problem with a lot of food is the poison that you're eating is really what you don't think is poison, and that's polyunsaturated fats. Anything with canola oil, corn oil, uh, excellent. Tone, that's great. Um, yeah. Yeah, see, Tone Seeker, where the hell have you been, man? I've been talking about this diet. It's a fucking great diet. It really, and it's so easy to manage. I mean, you're doing it over 3 years. It's really easy to manage. My only thing is if you're looking to lose more weight, because I don't know if you're at your goal or what, I think bumping up the fats is a way to go. Your body, your testosterone, everything gets made through saturated fats. And polyunsaturated fats is pure poison. They used to, back when McDonald's was good, the French fries were fried in beef tallow, which is beef fat that's from the fat of the kidneys of a cow. I make my own beef tallow. I buy beef suet at the store. I render it in the oven. I pour it, filter it, and then put it in Tupperware, and that's what I cook with. And it sounds crazy, but everything tastes better. Everything tastes better. And there's so high omega-6 in saturated, and forget about the omega-6, just the chemical compound they take seed oil, which initially looks like a black oil that you couldn't digest or eat, ingest, I should say, or eat. And then they use a hexane solvent to clean it. They do all kinds of things to it to make it so it's edible. And it's poison. It's absolute poison. So cutting that out of your diet is huge. So if I go out to eat, I always tell people do not use any oils. I tell them I'm allergic to them. And I tell them either cook it in butter or just cook it on the grill, but with nothing. So if you go to McDonald's, you could order like 2 burgers, like a double cheeseburger, and just don't eat the bread. I missed what you said there. So no, lard is beef fat. I mean pork fat. So any type of lard is pork fat from a pig. Beef fat is called tallow. And so you have tallow, and then if you have lamb or sheep fat, that is called suet. However, in its final form, however, beef suet is just they call beef tallow. But yeah, all that's the best stuff to cook in. Plus it has vitamins K2, which is a hard vitamin to get, which is very important for your body, A and D. There's no vitamins in unsaturated fat. And there's no study that shows that saturated fat does what the Heart Association says. There was money being handed to them from the sugar lobbies and everyone else and from Crisco, but there's no scientific study that shows it. In fact, they sit there and constantly point to a study called the Framingham study, which was based out of Framingham, Mass. The Framingham study proves exactly the opposite. I don't know, so anyone can sit there and say, I mean, I could sit here and bullshit you and go, well, you know, the Natick study says this, and people are going to say, okay, they don't even look at it, or know what if there's even a study. Well, they used to quote, well, the Framingham study has proved this, but you go look at the Framingham study does not say that at all. In fact, the Framingham study says the exact opposite. It says there's no correlation, there's no causation. So, but you could look at guys like Tone Seeker, guys like me, eating high saturated fat and getting unbelievable results from it. And if you're interested in what I'm saying, there's a great video from a Dr. Kanabi, who was an ophthalmologist who was wondering why so many people were coming down with macular degeneration in the eyes. And he went down a rabbit hole, put a whole study group together, and basically figured out that vegetable oils or seed oils, whatever you want to call them, because they're really not from vegetables, seed oils, sugar, and flour are the poisons in our system. And you can't eat enough sugar and flour to even affect you. It's the seed oil that you're getting so much of. That's what I do. I live on pork rinds. I love it. I go to the cigar shop called Mr. J's in Coventry, Rhode Island, and it's great. I walk in, the girls will bring over a water with lemon in it. It's like lemon water with salt in it. And so last night I went and I took a sip and it was salty as hell, and I loved it because, you know, when your body craves salt, you want salt. And when you don't have insulin in your body constantly from eating carbohydrates, your body really goes through salt fast. Yeah, I missed the bottom part, but I'll read that when the next one pops up. So I said to her, I go, hey, Amy, the salt in this, she looked at me like shocked. I go, it's perfect today. She goes, I put so much in. I'm like, I love it. So, and I bring pork rinds with me here. Hold on, let me see what I'm saying. I'm interested. I'll come back to this video, look it up later. It's not based on a book. It's based on a doctor by the name of Sean Baker, who claims, I mean, I like Sean Baker a lot, but he basically says he didn't make up the diet. The diet's been around for 200 years. It's really the way a lot of people ate, but he named it the carnivore diet. Nobody named it before he did. And but when you cut out, the first thing I would say, if you're looking to get healthy, forget about losing weight and forget about anything. If you're just trying to get healthy, cut out vegetable oils, sugar, and flour. Once you cut out those three things, you can definitely, you're definitely on the way to heal it. Now, if you're trying to get rid of high blood pressure, possible, onset diabetes, whether it's diabetes, type 2 diabetes, type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetic, anything that's a metabolic issue. Like, it's not going to cure diabetes because diabetes is a pancreatic issue. Type 2 diabetes is a metabolic issue. And if you're having metabolic issues, the best thing to do is go down. I mean, in all honesty, if you're really having issues, I would say do the Lion diet for 30 days. The Lion diet is the strict carnivore. Red meat, salt, and water. That's it. But if you're not already in a bad place, you can kind of do a loose carnivore, which is you can eat chicken and fish and cheese and heavy cream. Can't have milk because milk has sugar. Heavy cream has 0 sugar. So, for breakfast, I'm making 3 eggs scrambled with smoked salmon and cream cheese in it. And it's unbelievable. And if I'm hungry, I'll eat it with a side of bacon. Most of the time, I have to force myself to eat it because I'm stuffed from the meal I had the night before. And when I say the night before, I'm eating it like 5 or 6 at night. So, how many hours is that? 12 and 5. So 17 hours go by and I'm still not hungry. It's crazy. Like I'm like, oh, I'm full. But it's not a sick full. It's just I don't want to eat full. But I'm good. I feel, I can go to the gym, do anything. You don't get sick full on this diet. You get full. I can't even describe it to you because unless you do it, you don't know. But you get so satiated from proper fat that it's like, yeah, I don't really want to eat. I do coffee on my diet. Yeah. No, my energy levels don't drop. And so I was doing coffee before the gym, and then I watched this woman carnivore doctor who was talking about hormones in your skin. And she says to eat make sure you get a stick of butter in your system a day. And really, she's not saying eat a stick of butter. She's saying make sure you're getting the right amounts of fat. You want high fat. So I put a third of a stick of butter in my coffee every morning. I put it in a blender with coconut oil, which is called MCT oil, a third of a stick of butter, and a little bit of aspartame, or sometimes I'll use stevia. Put it in the blender, and that's my coffee in the morning. And I can drink it in about 2 seconds, and I'm wired with energy. Yeah. I have a group on Facebook called DL's Carnivore Nation, Team DL's Carnivore Nation. And in it is a lot of videos from cardiologists and other doctors who are, I would call, in the know, and I would say on the fringe because they go against all the US guidelines and all the bullshit. And if you think the US guidelines are good and you think these doctors are crazy, all you have to say is the United States since 1980 has been following the USDA guidelines. It's in our schools, prisons, everywhere, in old folks' homes, and the way when people are on stamps or whatever they call it, and they get groceries, they have certain things on a list. And this food is so bad for you that if it were good for you, we wouldn't be seeing commercials all day of how to bring your A1C down or how to, these were not issues in the 1900s. The 1800s, in the 19th century. Nobody was wondering how to get their A1C down. There wasn't type 2 diabetes. They never had heart attacks. They had, with all that, how do we never have that stuff? And then we bring in seed oils, we start having that stuff, and the problem is the fats we've been eating for 2,000 years. Not the fats that we just started eating 30 years ago that started causing the first heart attacks and all these other issues that we're getting. And if you watch them getting increased, if you watch it how it increased in our diet over the years, you could see that those issues also increased. Saturated fats intake has gone down, and yet all these issues are increasing, so much so that we're selling 9 different drugs to bring your A1C down. It's fucking mental. I use a compressor. I put it early in before all the drives. I put the compressor first. That's where I like it. Awesome. All the videos that I have are in that group are really great. Emily's in that group and she's posting a lot of stuff. And look, why is the police slowing down at my driveway? So, just a little background. Emily was having issues for years with lactose. She was lactose intolerant. She watched a video on why plants are bad, and with oxalates and all these things and all the toxins in plants. And 2 of the worst were almonds and spinach and broccoli, those 3. So she lived on spinach and almonds. She cut it out of her diet, and now she's eating dairy. So, and she's in the group posting stuff about that and post videos. And there's a couple of other people that are on carnivore that do it. To say these doctors are, I missed what you said. The carnivore, carnivore MD, I think is Sean Baker. He's one, and Anthony Chaffee is another one. Yeah, I don't think they're trying to. I mean, Paul Baluch, I would say, I honestly don't believe that that's their intention. I just think that they're also very misguided and don't know anything about drugs. They're just told, especially when Obamacare came in and healthcare became the big thing. They're told, oh, if somebody's cholesterol's high, get them on a statin. Well, a statin doesn't protect them from what they're trying to tell you to protect you from. They're just trying to bring that number down. But some people, well, cholesterol is not bad. It's not a bad thing. Cholesterol is the thing that makes our hormones. And you need cholesterol. It also makes you happy in the brain. It has a job. And your body's actually producing 75% of the cholesterol in your body. You're only eating 25% of the cholesterol. So when they sit there and say, oh, your cholesterol's a little high, that's dangerous, that's fucking bullshit. They don't know what the fuck they're talking. There is actually not one study that shows that high cholesterol has a causation or a correlation to heart disease or death. They don't know what they're talking. So doctors are just told this, and there's a whole cholesterol. I love people always say, what's your cholesterol like? I'm like, why? What the fuck do you know about cholesterol? You don't know a goddamn thing about it. You don't know what it does, what's the purpose. You don't know what LDL is, or that LDL can be broken down into fucking fluffy LDL or hard. They don't know a goddamn thing. And so do your own research, because people don't know shit. And they sit there and they tell you, oh, your A1C is high, you're pre-diabetic, or you're getting into type 2 diabetes, we got to put you on this. You're going to tell people you put them on this? I would say, you can change your diet and fix this. I don't understand. There's a woman that does TED Talks who talks about it. And she's like, why won't they just tell you to fix your diet? Because they don't know. They don't know a damn thing. Yeah, they tried to put me on a statin. I was like, I want my cholesterol up. I don't want you to fuck with my cholesterol. I don't need any of that. I have a buddy, my cholesterol is low compared to, I have a buddy of mine shredded his whole life. Fantastic shape, works out, only eats like chicken and beef, and he's just always in great shape. He was always like 5% body fat. I think now he told me, he reached out to me, he says he's at 10%. I was like, wow, that's heavy for you. And we laughed. He's always had over 300 in his cholesterol. And finally he went to a specialist who was like, you're fine. Like, your cholesterol's good. And you just genetically have a high cholesterol. Your body makes it, and that's what makes testosterone. It's what makes your hormones. So they're very quick to throw you on stuff. If your blood pressure's a little high, I can cure anyone with high blood pressure. I can get you off your medication in 4 days. Name that. I can do it in 3. Name that tune. No, but 4 days. My singer, high blood pressure, 160 over 90. His doctor was very concerned. He was like that. So he started carnivore. 4 days later, he goes in and gets his blood pressure checked. He's 120 over 68. They were like, maybe you were really nervous coming in before. He's like, or maybe I changed everything I ate. Because the cardiologist doctor in my group basically says you can get rid of it in 3 days. You have to clear the insulin out of your blood. Insulin is the hormone that's the issue. Stop the production of insulin. You don't stop it completely. Obviously, your body, when you eat protein, your body produces insulin to store that muscle. 210 is actually normal. 220 used to be the normal. And then when the government took over, they knocked it down to 200. But 220 has always been the normal. And all the studies about cholesterol, 220 is where they call it the normal. So I don't know where the government gets off knocking that number down to 200, but all the studies with cholesterol use 220 as the top range. So like I said, it's all bullshit. And when I go to the doctor, I'm going for the blood work. I go to read it myself. Anything he suggests to me, I always tell them, I don't care. I'm not interested. I got it. Don't worry about it. And it's always been the cholesterol. My cholesterol was 210 also. Same number. And I was like, what does that mean? And they were like, well, so. It's just nuts. They don't know a goddamn thing. They really don't. But I'm very interested to see how my blood's going to work, my blood work's going to be. And I have no idea what weight I'll be going into that doctor's office on the 18th. That's like 20 days from now, 19 days from now. I mean, I'll probably be another 5 pounds lighter, so I'll probably be under 180. That'll be nuts. I have a feeling 175 is going to be. You're down to 189, yeah. I'm down to 183. I think 175 is not my goal, but I think that's where I'm going to be by the time I go to my doctor. Yeah. I like my doctor as a guy. Like, we go in, we shoot the shit, we talk politics, we have a lot of fun. So I like him, but then when he suggests what I want to do, I'm always like, what the fuck do you know? And he starts laughing. He knows I'm not listening to him. I could give one shit. I mean, honestly, I wish I could go back in time, what I know now, from when I first came out here and change my father's diet. I think everything they tell these people who have heart problems, I think they tell them the absolute opposite of what they should do. But it's interesting, you know? My favorite line is by Dr. Kanabi, who says, "We are part of the biggest experiment without informed consent with the food that they feed us and put on the shelves." I mean, you go in the market, I'm telling you right now, 90% of that shit is poison. And the part that you think is poison, that they've trained you to think is poison, is the good stuff. The beef, the high fatty beef. I'm gonna eat a steak tonight. I'm so fucking psyched. I had it 2 days ago. I bought 2 steaks and it was so good. It filled me up so much. I just eat a steak with some butter and a couple of slices of fresh mozzarella cheese, like the buffalo mozzarella, with a ton of salt on it. Oh, it's so fucking good. To me, that's good. And it fills me. And and sometimes I'll get like a sweet tooth, which is very rare. But I'll drink like either a diet root beer or a diet cream soda, and I'll add heavy cream in it. And it tastes like I'm eating either an egg cream or like a black cow. And it's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome. Knowing that I'm eating it and it has no sugar but high fat, I'm good. Excellent. I'm having a steak tonight. What's your side dish? Shrimp. That's fucking genius, man. I love it. And cook that shrimp in a ton of butter. And there's these things called Egg Life wraps. They taste like flour tortillas, but they're made from egg whites only. And they have 0 carbs. And it's fucking great. You cook it in butter. Oh. And I use farmer's cheese and cream cheese on the inside mixed with egg. Oh. I don't know how many of out there are Jews, but it's like blintzes. Nice. Now, Paul, the only thing about fillets is, for me, like if I go to a restaurant, like I go to Legal Seafood every now and then, and I'll get a fillet because that's the only steak they have. But if I have a choice of a fillet or a ribeye, I go with the ribeye because I'm trying to get more fat, and fillets are really lean. So if you have a fillet, make sure you have it with put a butter crust on it and get some butter on it, because you need that fat. And fillets are just generally lean. That's why I stay away from chicken. It's just too lean. So if I'm going to eat like sliced chicken, I will. One way I'll eat chicken is I batter it up in egg and pork rind panko and fry it in bacon fat, or I'll roll up chicken with bacon and cheese. But everybody that's doing the diet, I have 95 people in that group on Facebook, and I think about 20 people are now jumping into the diet. I've had 10 in the month of December who are doing excellent on it, and 10 more starting. Actually, one started yesterday, and but about 10 more are going to be full on in January. And the one thing I tell them is one thing I tell them is always make sure you're getting enough fat. It's very easy to eat lean proteins because that's how our brains are wired. We've been programmed with that. It's very easy to eat lean protein, but stay away from it. You want to get fatty protein. You want the ribeyes, like a New York strip that's got that big strip of fat on the side. Oh, it's so good. I eat it all. I eat all the fat on it. I'm not trimming that fat. That's food. And it's good. And it will satiate you. You will feel like, oh, like you just ate a Thanksgiving dinner without the getting tired, with maintaining energy. It's unbelievable. There's a way a doctor described it. They say when you run on carbohydrates, it's like putting tinder on a flame. You're putting little twigs on a flame. 3 hours, those twigs are all gone. When you eat fat, saturated fat, it's like putting a giant log on a fire. You have energy for fucking days. The only thing, let me see what you said. Oh, excellent. Exactly. That's where I get them, at Target. Yeah, Target had them on sale this week, so I bought 4 packs. They had them for $4.99. They're excellent. And like I said, I make quesadillas all the time with cheese, and sometimes I even use pepperoni. I have zero carb pepperoni that's fucking great. Now, like I said, I'm in day 56. In your first 30 days, you might want to stay away from pepperoni because it has spices in it, but it's one of the few things that I'll eat now, 30 days in. But again, because it has no carbs, if it had any carbs, I wouldn't eat it at all. Like any type of salami that has carbohydrates in it, I'm not eating. But pepperoni has 0, and I can still put it in with cheddar cheese and provolone and then saute it in butter, and it makes it like crispy, and it's like a quesadilla. It's so fucking good. And anytime I have someone taste it, they're like, how the fuck is this good for you? I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, but you're losing weight like crazy. I saw a guy in the gym today who hasn't been in the gym for 3 months. He walks up to me and goes, I had to look at you twice. Where's the rest of you? I said, I know, I lost a bit of weight over the last 3 months. He goes, holy shit. And so I talked to him about it for a while in the gym, and he's like, I think he's going to make the move sometime in January. He says he needs like a week to fucking get off the crap he's been eating and eat what he has in his house. I said, eat what you want. When you're ready, come to me. I'll walk you through it. But it's, yeah. And again, if anyone's doing it, like Tone Seekers out there doing it for 3 years now, if you're doing it, make sure you're getting in the fat. That's the trick. I used to think that protein was the most important and then fat, and my whole world's been turned upside down by when I started doing high fat and watching these doctors and feeling the difference. And the difference is unbelievable. I mean, you feel it. You really feel it. Like you feel more alert. You feel like I sleep like a baby. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I can sleep for 6 hours, wake up and, yeah, exactly, Paul. I sleep like a baby, and it's like I wake up 6 hours, all I need, and I'm awake, and I'm like, all right, what am I doing? Am I gonna go to the gym? I gotta eat. Let me see, am I hungry? So this morning I was like, I probably shouldn't eat. Then I got to the kitchen, and I'm like, well, I could eat just some eggs and not do the bacon, because that would be way too filling. So I did. I did the eggs with the salmon and the cream cheese, and then my bulletproof coffee with butter and oil. And I was off to the gym, and I did my last, did shoulders today and cardio for an hour. You know, but I don't know if you can see. Let me just stand up. But I really, I have no stomach anymore. These pants are a 32. So, I'm not sticking it in. I'm not even, actually, I'm pushing it out. It's nuts. It really is crazy. It really is crazy the way my body reacted to this. You know, a lot of you don't really know my background, but when I worked at Gold's Gym, I worked with a company called Intrafit, and Intrafit was run by Billy Smith, who was Thunder on American Gladiators. And Billy wanted me to go travel around the country with him, which I did not want to do because I wasn't 100% sold on the Intrafit diet. Now, I used to deal with the diet and I used to put people on the diet, but I would always cheat the diet because I thought their diet was too high carb. And I told Billy and I had many, I don't want to say they were arguments, but many discussions about the carb intake in his diet. And in this diet, it was like we really watched the fat. And it wasn't really low fat, but it was like, it wasn't high fat. It was just like, a decent amount of fat. But after, and I've done many other diets since then. And now when I say done them, I've studied them. And when this thing came around and I started ingesting high fat, I just could not believe the way my body responded to it. I was like, whoa, this is different. Whereas I have to eat constantly, no. Where I was going to the bathroom 5 times a day, no. All that stopped. It's crazy. It's crazy. Your body changes and you feel it. You can feel it in your head. You can feel it. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, right now I'll be honest. I'm probably, I'm not the strongest I was, but I'm in the best shape of my life, for sure. I can do an hour. Like if I had to go do an hour of cardio right now, I could do it in my sleep. It would be nothing. And it's funny because the other day someone in the gym asked me, they're like, "How fast are you going on that?" I'm like, "I'm doing 3.8 miles per hour." They're like, "Wow, that's on a 15 incline." I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh, really? 30 minutes?" I'm like, "No, an hour." They couldn't believe I was doing an hour on that. They're like, "No wonder why you're coming off that thing drenched." I'm like, "Yeah." But I mean, I've done 2 hours before. And I'm telling you, like people think you need carbohydrates, you don't. Interesting question. So I don't know where you're at physically to know when you're going to feel the benefits, but let's say you never worked out, and let's say you're in insulin resistance, which I can guarantee anybody that eats a regular diet that the US government recommends, you're in insulin resistance. So that means within a few years, you're either putting on weight and people will say, "Oh, that's because I just turned 40 and now I'm putting on weight." That's not why you're putting on weight. You're not putting on weight because you're 40. You're putting on weight because you're 40 and you've been eating shit for 40 years. That's why. So don't give me the excuse of how old you are as to why you're fat, because that's not why you're fat. You're fat of what you eat. So with all that in mind, I would say within the first week, you will start to definitely feel a hell of a lot better. Now, the first day or two, eating high fat, you're gonna start feeling a pain right here on your side, and that's your gallbladder. And your gallbladder is telling your body, fuck, I gotta ramp up and start producing bile that I was created to do. That's why I'm here, which is why a lot of people's gallbladders go bad, because they're not doing the job. It's just a fucking organ that's not doing what it's supposed to do. What it's supposed to do is create bile that breaks down saturated fats. So you'll feel that. That goes away after like 2 days. And it only happens when you're like, after you eat, you'd be like, oof. But it's not a bad pain. It's just like one of those things where you're like, what is that? I happened to watch a doctor talk about it and I was like, thank God that's what that is. Then it went away. You'll feel that, but then you'll feel a burst of energy. You won't be hungry. And you'll realize you can get away with eating a breakfast and a dinner. You don't need a lunch. And if you wanted to snack on a lunch, if you wanted to eat something as a snack, you can have pork rinds. You could have one of those quesadillas that I was talking about making, but you won't be. I understand it's really a hard concept to understand. And I'm a guy who ate 5 meals a day. So trust me when I tell you, I would eat breakfast and be staring at the clock going, all right, I'm going to go to the gym and I'll get out and I'll be back and I'll be just in time. And I'm looking at the clock thinking, all right, I'll be just in time so I can get another meal in because I'll be starving my ass off. And then I'm going to wait 3 more hours and I'm staring at the clock because I want to eat again. That went away. And it blew my mind. That was something I was devastated about when I started eating high fat And I was like, wait a minute, I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat. And then 6 hours go by and I'm like, it's 6 hours already? I can't eat a fucking thing. I'm not eating now. 8 hours. I'm like, well, fuck, I should eat now because the window's closing of when I really shouldn't be eating at night anyways, because I want to make it so it's long, the fasting time of when so it's like 6 o'clock and I'm like, I'm going to eat. So I eat. And then I'm stuffed again. And not a bad stuffed, but I'm satiated. Yes, that's what it is, Tone. It's your gallbladder. Your gallbladder over here will hurt, and also you'll get cramps. And those cramps are the microbiomes in your intestines that are craving sugar that you're gonna shit out of your system. And if you ever watch the Joe Rogan thing, Rogan always talks about how he has crazy diarrhea. That's because he's getting rid of all the microbiomes in his intestine that want sugar. I never had that because I had been dieting for so long before it. So when I transitioned into carnivore, my stomach was already normalized to not getting sugar, so my body didn't really react. I just had the gallbladder thing. But for anybody else, if they're eating a lot of sugar, when they do it, their stomach, they'll have cramps, and for the first week, they'll just be emptying their stomach of food they haven't even eaten. Once your body regulates, you don't go to the bathroom nearly as often. You may go once a day, you may go twice a day, you may go twice one day and then not the next day, but you don't need to. And then you go to the bathroom, and not to be disgusting, but it's way smaller and not a big a deal because your body you're eating such nutrient-dense foods that your body's using it all. So you don't need to go to the bathroom as much. If you're going to the bathroom and you're filling that fucking bowl, God help us all, for me even just saying that, because the thought of it's disgusting and I'm gonna vomit in my own mouth in a second. But if that were the case, that's because all the food you're eating, your body can't use. That's what it's telling you. You're taking a giant dump and your body is saying to you, hey asshole, we're not even using this stuff, stop eating it. When you start eating on a carnivore diet, you'd be surprised your body's using almost everything. You're eating everything. It's fucking great. And like I said, you feel amazing. And also, this is a biggie. I sound like Paulie. What do I know about the restaurant business? You know anything about that? All right, you run the joint. The thing is, because you're getting rid of, got a piece of tobacco in my mouth. Because you're getting rid of all the inflammation in your body, you don't have any aches and pains anymore. Now you've heard, there, I got it. You heard Matt on my show. Matt used to have terrible aches and pains because Matt does a lot of like judo and stuff like that, and all that, we'll call it martial arts stuff. I was going to say kung fu, but that's not the right word. Martial arts. And he's been doing martial arts as long as I've known him. And he has a ton of aches and pains. He said once he went on carnivore, they went away. He goes, he can't believe it. And he feels fantastic. And it's funny because he was on the fence about starting it, and he was a little skeptical. And then as he started in, he'd be calling me saying, all right, this is weird. I'm not getting any pains anymore. I said, yeah, you're getting rid of the inflammation. And obviously, again, he was already an easy transition for him because he was already watching his diet and already ate good. So the transition was easy, but you get rid of all the inflammation when you do that. You just don't have any pains. Like any aches and pains in your body, gone. I wake up, like I used to wake up in the morning and I'd walk to the bathroom with my shins killing me going, like you feel like a 50-year-old man. What can I say? You know, I'm 54. You feel like a 50-year-old man. Now I get up and I'm like, I feel like I'm in my 20s. I don't have any pains. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? It's unbelievable. I can't stress it enough. This cigar cannot stay lit. Which is strange because I don't snore at all. Snoring is gone. It's all gone. I don't snore at all. It'll get rid of snoring. It gets rid of a lot of shit. It gets rid of snoring because snoring is caused from inflammation. Any inflammation in your body's gone. Yeah, a lot of people go through carb withdrawal. I did not. And part of that reason, Tone, is because I stumbled upon it. The way I found, the way I put it to the test was I was very lucky. So I was doing oatmeal with blueberries every morning, and that was my carbs, and then I was carb off for the rest of the day. So one day I sat and I had chicken breast, and I put cheese, provolone cheese, Swiss cheese, and bacon. And I ate 4 strips of this. And I'm like, this would be what I would have in a sandwich. If I ate the sandwich, I'd be hungry in 3 hours. I ate it, and 10 hours later, I wasn't hungry. And I was like, and a light bulb went off. I was like, oh my God, I gotta stop carbs. The trick is fat. I get it now. I totally get it. And the next day, that was on a Thursday. Friday, I was out of blueberries. So I'm like, I'm gonna do the last bit of blueberries to run out. Did that on Friday, and then Saturday, November 5th, I'm like, that's it. I'm doing it. And I did. And I just ate high fat. And that for me took the carb withdrawal away, because I jumped into high fat and figured it out. My body figured it out, my brain right away. I'm like, that's what I need. So when I did high fat, I didn't have any carb withdrawals. It was like, in fact, it's the easiest transition I've ever done in my life because of it. And that's why I can't stress it enough to anyone that wants to do this diet, is to start loading on fat. Hey, Ryan. Okay, so I'll explain that in a second. So it'll make sense to me. Yeah, so keto is a very similar diet, but keto allows up to 50 grams of carbohydrates spread out through the day. It also, has the same thing with the window of time. Keto, you have to count your calories a little bit, and also in keto, you can allow for carbohydrates like, they do the whole shenanigans with net carbs, which is if something has 10 grams of carbs, yet 5 grams of fiber, then it's net 5 carbs. I don't like that. To me, carnivore is you just cut out all the carbs. Everything has to come from meat, a living thing. So it's either, meat, cheese, beef, pork, chicken, turkey, but you got to eat high fat, and you don't count calories. Calories don't matter. If you want to sit there and eat a fucking pork shoulder and throw in 4,000 calories in your throat for the day, you can do it. It doesn't matter. You'll still lose weight, because calorie in, calorie out doesn't matter. That doesn't work. What works is controlling your insulin. And so it's a stricter version of keto, but I think it's a way more effective. In fact, most of the doctors who I watched, actually, Ken Berry, Dr. Ken Berry, he was keto for years, and now he swears up and down that carnivore is the only way. And he talks about the differences, and his wife calls herself ketovore, where she eats keto but also mix in. I don't eat mayo, and now you can make your own mayonnaise, but here's the problem with mayonnaise. It's oil. You can't use seed oils. So the only way you could make mayonnaise was you'd have to use something that is, I don't think you can do it, but it's eggs and oil, and you have to stay away from oils. Those oils are, think of it this, anything with vegetable oil is the equivalent to your body to rat poison. So do you want a little bit of rat poison in your diet? I don't. So that's how I look at it, because when you watch the Dr. Kanabi video on seed oils, you'll realize that is the poison that is giving everybody their sickness. Sorry. I have dreams like that too. You totally get dreams of yourself eating carbs going, what am I doing? Why am I eating this? And it's funny. You get those dreams. That's so funny you say that. But yeah, so I mean, people are like, I don't know if I could do the diet. It's like, you don't count calories. You eat as much as you want. And they're like, what can I have with my steak? Bacon, cheese, whatever you want, but don't have anything that's plant. Don't eat anything that's fruit. Don't eat nuts. Don't eat anything that's seed oils. Don't eat sugar. Don't eat flour. If the food doesn't come from something that had parents, no good. In fact, the best food to eat is steak or lamb. And the reason is because they have 4 stomachs. And the first stomach that they have takes the vegetables that they eat and takes all the toxins out. That's what the first stomach is. So when you eat steak and you eat these things, you're getting the vitamins, but you're not getting the toxins with it because their first stomach is the stomach that got rid of it. Chicken, you don't have that kind of luxury. And also, chicken's too lean. I eat chicken as a snack, but I have to eat it with cheese and bacon because there's no fat in chicken. Now, if I eat a rotisserie chicken, I'm eating the skin, I'm eating the dark meat, and I can eat the whole chicken. And sometimes I will, just so I can get up the amount of fat, and it won't satiate me until I eat the whole bird. And I've done that. I've gotten a rotisserie chicken and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna nibble on it, and ate the whole fucking thing. It doesn't matter. That is correct. So the 2 oils that are not considered seed oils are avocado oil and olive oil. Now, olive oil you can eat if you eat it cold, and it's cold pressed, and it's it says first cold pressed, and it has 1 country of origin. I'd say you can eat it. Why do you want to eat it? To me, it's like, it's not saturated fat. It's not giving you vitamins. Don't eat it. There's no need. So I avoid it. Now, if we're going to talk about what the omega-6 is in it, the omega-6 that's in olive oil is 10 to 1. Omega-6, 10 to 1 of omega-3. In avocado oil, it's 13 to 1. Still, if it's not 2 to 1 like saturated fat, it's terrible. Saturated fat's 2 to 1. That's the ratio you should be eating omega-6 to omega-3. So I avoid avocado oil and olive oil. So I say, don't eat seed oils, don't eat vegetable oils. Just avoid the oils. Now, if you're going to eat an oil, coconut oil, it's saturated fat. Coconut oil is acceptable. I wouldn't live on it because it doesn't have the vitamins that the other ones have. No, absolutely not. The weight training and everything is more for me, but the diet, the whole point of, so I'll explain to you, Johnny. This will make it easy for you to understand. I bought a book called The Big Fat Surprise by Nina Teicholz. And this book was about how the government has been lying about the tests that went on, and that saturated fat is actually healthier fat for you. And she shows all the tests, the Framingham test. She's basically just a journalist who was like, well, where do these things come from? And it's very shocking. And she was like really, I think she was a vegetarian at one point, but she went really shocked about it. One of the studies she talked about was the guy who basically said, you can lose weight and calorie in, calorie out, doesn't matter, as long as you control your insulin. And he took all these overweight guys and he said to them, you can have 3,000 calories a day. And they had to eat 3,000 calories a day for this study. No working out, no doing anything, and they all lost like crazy weight. And that was like eye-opening to me. I'm like, I get it. Your body cannot store fat if your body does not spike insulin. Impossible to store fat. And your body's using a lot of energy. So for you to maintain the weight that you have to store that energy and constantly be eating. So like, some people will say to me, they'll be really fat and they're like, I only eat 1 meal a day. And I'm like, and they tell me like they don't think I believe them. And I'm like, oh, I believe you. You're eating a huge meal and it's got lots of carbs. And they're like, yeah, spaghetti and this with bread. Of course, that's reloading your system, keeping you fat. And the same guy went on carnivore. First 10 days, 5 pounds. 30 days in, 10 pounds. He's 10 pounds, but he was so insulin resistant, never worked out a day in his life, and he's now coming out of that insulin resistance. Once the insulin resistance and all that gets out of his body, he's going to start dropping weight crazy. So does working out help? Yeah, it'll give you a little bit of an edge, but you don't have to. It's not the end all be all. It's not the reason why you lose weight. The reason why you lose weight is you're manipulating your body by not eating things to spike your insulin. Now, if you think I'm crazy or you think this idea is insane, I would like somebody to tell me what's an essential carbohydrate. There's no such thing. We have essential fatty acids that we need in our body to live. We have essential amino acids, which are proteins. So we have essential proteins, we have essential fatty acids. There's no essential carbohydrates. You do not need them. The body is not made to be eating carbs the way we eat carbs. You know, you figure out sugar has been, how long has sugar been around now? Since the late 1800s, since we have refined sugar, and late 1800s since we've had vegetable oil. Actually, they started putting cottonseed oil, mixing it in with cheaper butter back in the 1860s. And then by 1911, Crisco came out. 1912, the first recorded heart attack that was from atherosclerosis, which is clogged arteries. No clogged arteries before that. 2,000 years, people eating saturated fats, no clogged arteries. I've been doing, that was Ryan that said that. So I've been on a diet since June of last year, and then I switched to carnivore November 5th of this year. I'm on day 56 of the carnivore diet. And I'm just telling you, I've been on a diet for a long time, and I know how my body feels. And the second I went to carnivore, I was like, oh yeah. I felt like I went through a time machine. I feel so much younger. Well, I've studied it before I did it. So how it started me even knowing anything about the diet was I worked on a film with a buddy of mine called Bigger, Stronger, Faster. And my buddy directed the film. And, we've always, him and I talked about getting lean. And I remember one time I got real lean and he was like, but he struggled with getting lean. And so one day this year, I looked at his Instagram and he's shredded. And I see all he's posting is about carnivore, and he's on carnivore for over a year. And I'm like, man, he looks fucking fantastic. So that was the introduction into my brain with it. Then I started watching videos with doctors and TED Talks just about it. So I was pretty informed before I got into it. But now that I've done it, I really understand it. Like I've done it, I've got it to practical use where I'm like, okay, the trick is eating fat. That's the trick. Because I understand the struggle. People struggle with hunger and they want to eat. And when you eat lots of fat, you don't have that sensation anymore. Your body is like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to eat. So like what time is it? I don't even know what time it is right now, but I'll tell you right now, the last time I ate was 9 this morning. So I haven't eaten yet and I'm not hungry at all. Here's what Ryan said. Oh. Yeah, Ryan, go on Facebook, Ryan, and look up Team DL's Carnivore Nation. All the YouTube videos that I think are important for you to look on the diet are there. I have a friend who says to me, he's type 2 diabetic. He says, well, what does the other side think about this? Like saying the doctors, the normal doctors. I'm like, well, the other side got you to type 2 diabetes. That's what they think. You know what I mean? It's like the way the country's going. So you have to understand, before 1920, there was no such thing as type 2 diabetes. Now, 33% of the population have it. 33% have type 2 diabetes. Has saturated fat consumption gone up or gone down since the 1900s? Has type 2 diabetes, has polyunsaturated fats gone up or down in the last 80 years? Well, you can figure it out then. What's causing it? No, it didn't. Soft drinks is sugar. And most people, soft drinks is sugar, and it would be, you don't understand the amount of sugar you would have to drink to cause the same effect as omega-6 does to your cell on your cellular level. You really got to watch the Dr. Kanabi video because he goes into sugar. Sugar takes up about 10% of the problem. White flour, 5% of the problem. 85% of the problem is seed oils as far as causing all these issues because it's so high in our diets and it has so high omega-6. Your body can handle that kind of sugar, and it is a problem, but not on the level of what you're talking about, especially since, let me ask you this question. Coke has been around for a long time, but since Diet Coke came out and all the diet soft drinks, do you think that more people are drinking regular Coke or less people drinking regular Coke? I would say there's less people drinking regular Coke, and therefore, and more people drinking Coke Zero and Diet Coke. Therefore, if sugar was the issue and the sugar consumption's going down in sodas, soda can't be the problem because the number for diabetes is going up. So much so they got to run a fucking ad every 5 minutes on the TV. Oh, Ozempic. You have to find, the issue can't be something that's decreasing is causing something going up. You know what I mean? But if you look at the consumption of seed oils in this country, it goes up in direct correlation with all the fucking issues that we have. Heart disease, type 2 diabetes, everything comes from insulin resistance. And so you have to figure out what level of sugar could cause insulin resistance, and it's a lot higher level than people are consuming, even though we consume a lot of sugar. But the seed oils, eggs are fantastic. I eat eggs every day. I try to eat at least 3 eggs a day. At least 3 eggs. If I eat the egg sunny side up, I put cotija cheese on it, which is this Mexican cheese. Eggs are great. This morning I had 3 eggs scrambled with smoked salmon and cream cheese. It's so fucking good. Usually I have it with a side of like 4 sticks of bacon. Yeah, get rid of Pam. Pam's no good. Use butter. Pam is no good. It's poison. Make it hard. Pam, as much as it's going to sound crazy, is going to make it harder for you to lose weight. Get rid of the Pam. Get rid of all seed oils. And Pam is like a silicone. Get rid of it. You don't need the chemical. Use butter. Pepper is okay. I don't use it. I'm not a big pepper fan, but pepper is considered okay. Only black pepper. You cannot have any nightshade, red pepper, green pepper. Oh, I see. A pan, yeah. But use butter. Get some more fat in there. I can't stress enough how good the fat is. Red pepper, no. Can't use any peppers. Their nightshade causes inflammation. You have to stay away from food that causes inflammation. I've been off nightshade for a long time. Don't be afraid of butter. No, I see it's a chili pepper, yeah. No peppers. Does the chili pepper have a parent? Get rid of it. Butter, beef tallow, bacon fat. I save my bacon fat for when I cook burgers. I cook everything else in beef tallow. And it really doesn't take much to make it. No garlic. Listen, garlic, I just said, does garlic have a parent? No, can't use it. No garlic, no onion. Now listen, occasionally you're going to go to a restaurant, they're going to put garlic on something, you can't do anything about it. Okay, when you're cooking at home and you're making food, garlic is out, it's not in your diet. No garlic, no onion. You can use salt and pepper, and then bacon fat, beef tallow, lard, whatever you want to use, butter, but it can't be oil, it can't be Pam. What do you mean you don't understand have a parent? A cow is born. That's the food. Sheep are born. Dairy comes from a living thing. A pepper is grown in the ground. Garlic is grown in the ground. If it comes up from the ground, what can I tell you? It's not a living thing. You can't eat it. Now you understand what I mean by it has a parent. I only say that because I have a cousin who, hey now, I have a cousin who's vegan and he always used to say to me, I won't eat anything that has parents. Now I realize I'm the opposite. Yeah. In fact, I don't really, I mean, you can eat pepper. They say you can have black pepper. On the lion diet, you can't. You can only have salt. So I just stick to salt. I stay pretty strict only because I don't care. I don't give a shit. One thing you have to do is you have to understand, yes, orphans are fine. One thing you have to understand is you have to change your mentality. You have to change how you think about food. Everyone lives to eat. And you can't live to eat because that's going to get you sick. You eat to live. Make yourself some food. Excellent, Greg. Red meat's the best. That's the best for you. You have to eat to live. So eat what's going to make you healthy, and that makes you healthy. What the government and what people think they know what is healthy, they don't know anything what's healthy. Beet juice, terrible. Beets are the worst. They're the highest in oxalates. They're horrible. It comes from the ground. You can't eat it. And it's terribly high in oxalates, and you want to avoid anything high in oxalates. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a different mentality. You're just trying to figure out what you can eat that makes it healthy. Full fat milk has tons of sugar in it. It's got 5 grams of sugar at least per glass. Terrible. Too much sugar, not good for you. It's the lactose. You want to avoid lactose. But if you drink heavy cream doesn't have any. 0 sugar in heavy cream. So heavy cream you can have. It doesn't have the same sugars as milk. Milk you have to avoid. Like I said, if you see a cheese that has more than a gram of fat, you can't eat that cheese. In fact, I won't eat cheese unless it says less than a gram. It has less than a gram, of carbohydrates. So anything that has more than a gram of carbohydrates, you cannot eat. So you can't have any cheese that has carbs. You can't have milk that has carbs. So you can't have any sugar in your milk. Therefore, and non-fat milk, all that milk, that's all garbage too. You can't have any milk. Heavy cream is the only dairy liquid you can have. Per serving. Per serving. Which is why I stick with 0. Like I said, I'll drink a diet soda, like a diet root beer, and I'll put heavy cream in there, and it tastes like fucking ice cream, and it's fucking awesome. It has 0 sugar. Can't have any spice. No spice. Spices come up from the ground. They're nightshade. They are poisons, so you can't have them. They cause inflammation. The trick to carnivore is your release. Now the thing is, here's the thing about carnivore. Once you do it and you get yourself out of insulin resistance and you get your body, you can have black pepper only, Ryan. When you, once you get your body to a place where you're like, all right, I feel great, then you can try to start adding stuff if you want, like spices, and see how you react to them. For me, in fact, everyone that I know that does that, they say pains come back to them and then they get rid of it because the inflammation comes back. So to me, it's like, Just who cares? Like, do I need that? No, but I'll tell you this. Exactly. 100% Ryan. Yes, you can eat bacon all day. Bacon doesn't cause inflammation. It's high in protein, high in saturated fat, and your body loves it. It's magic. It's fantastic food. It satiates you and your body does not get inflamed. And inflammation is the issue that everyone has. And insulin resistance. You get rid of the insulin resistance, get rid of the inflammation, you'll feel fantastic. I'm telling you, I'm 54 years old. I feel like I feel better than I did when I was 30. No lie. I feel fantastic. You know? Yeah, they tell you that. It's actually processed meats are just high in nitrates, but here's the issue with it. Nitrates are salt. And your body, when the way you eat, when the government tells you how to eat, your body is so high in insulin, salt is in your blood, it gives you high blood pressure, it's terrible for you. However, once you start realizing when you cut the insulin resistance and you cut your insulin, your body craves salt like crazy. And generally, you got to listen to your body. Your body wants salt, eat salt. And so nitrates don't become a problem because you can't hold salt in your body because insulin isn't constantly, your blood pressure is normal. You want to take in as much salt as you can. And you'll start to realize that anyone who does this diet is going to start to realize one day they're going to get dizzy. And that's salt. You don't have enough salt in your system and you start eating more salt. Salt your food liberally. I'm telling you, I'm not a person, and anyone who knows me knows I never put salt on anything. I put salt on everything now. I love it because my body's craving it. It's crazy. I can't explain it to you enough. Are there any beers made from? No beers. Dave, are you tired after smoking a strong cigar? I'm not tired after smoking a strong cigar at all. I smoke only strong cigars. I smoke a cigar a day, eat egg and cheese all the time. Unfortunately, no real exercise. I feel great and not like overweight, but I also like to drink. I fish. I'm 59. I know what's your opinion on salt and the balance of magnesium, potassium, salt. I don't have any muscle cramping issues. I know Dr. Berg does a video on potassium. I take a potassium supplement. I take a magnesium supplement. I've always taken supplements because I believe in them, so I still take them. So I take potassium and magnesium, and I also eat a lot of salt. So yeah, no, after a strong cigar, tobacco, the nicotine doesn't do anything to me. It doesn't affect me in any way anymore. I mean, some days I'm smoking. I smoked as much as on, I think, the day before Christmas. I had 5 cigars, all pretty strong. They don't bother me at all. The only cigar that used to do it to me was the CAO anniversary of Cameroon. That was a nicotine bomb. It doesn't bother me anymore, but it used to. When I first started smoking, I was like, whoa, you get a little lightheaded with it, but not anymore. Yeah, we get smoked bacon. Yeah, I get the smoked. I mean, I'm not afraid of any of the nitrates or anything like that. To me, that's the least of my worries. I eat, same thing with pepperonis. I eat that as well. And, oh, later. I'm filming. I'm live.
Okay.
Hi.
You have a lesson tonight, right?
Yeah, what time is it?
So you're not going.
What time is it?
It's 25 to 5.
All right, yeah, I gotta stop this in 10 minutes.
But you're home, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Okay.
Just okay.
Okay. Christ. I got a student coming soon. Okay, salty fat. Okay, I'm gonna trade my beet juice. Yeah, absolutely. I don't eat hot dogs. That's my mom that I take care of. She was asking me if I'm going out after my lesson. I'm like, no. She doesn't like being home alone. So I have to like time it out or work it out with my sister who can watch her. I ate all the salt I want. Yeah, totally. Tone, you get it. Because once you get the insulin out of your system, you realize that fuck, you need salt. And I eat it like crazy. I love it. Shit, he's gonna be coming soon. I gotta cook a burger before he gets here. I'd rather eat before he comes than after. I still got a few minutes with the cigar. This thing was a long one, huh? It's getting dark now too, you can see. Now this thing's smoking good. So yeah, anyways, you know, some people are like, how come you smoke cigars? I'm like, you know, when I do cardio, I'm like, I'm doing this cardio so I can feel like I'm not cheating when I have a cigar. Thanks, Greg. Yeah, I have a student coming at 5:30 tonight. I teach 5:30 to 8:30 tonight. Yeah, check it out. It's worked great for me so far, and I'm looking forward to another year on it, a whole year on it. The salt thing is a myth. Yeah, well, I mean, you got to eat salt. Your body will tell you what you want. Like people always say, oh, you got to be careful. Like I love when people give advice. Last night I'm smoking a cigar. This guy's trying to give advice. He was a fatty. I'm like, dude, who the fuck wants to look like you? You don't know anything about food. Don't tell me you know about nutrition. He's like, you got to be careful with your kidneys. You have to drink a lot of water. Yeah, you know how you know you have to drink water? Your body tells you you're thirsty, so you drink. When you're thirsty, drink water. Don't sit there and drink like 5 gallons of water because you think it's better for you, because it's not. Drink when you're thirsty. Eat salt when you want salt. But you'll know when you want salt because you'll start to feel, you actually, you know what? You won't know at first until you know, till you pinpoint it, like you feel nauseous and you're like, let me eat something salty. And then you figure it out. You're like, okay, I get it. I need salt. Then you know what needing salt feels like. And that's it. Because you don't know what needing salt feels like now because you have so much insulin in your body. But I mean, Tone Seeker obviously does carnivore, so he knows. Anyways, guys, I am going to fly because I got to get ready for this lesson and I want to cook up a bait. Oh, I was going to make a steak. Yeah, I'm going to make the steak. I'm going to go make my steak right now. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me, guys. Have a great new year. I will see you all Monday night on my show at 8 o'clock. I believe Chuck's going to be on the show, and Matt, and Joe, and Krell, and Dane, and anytime, Paul. Anytime. And yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me, guys. Appreciate it. And see you all next year, which will be Monday. All right, very good, guys.